Have you ever come home from a trip and felt like you didn't actually see the place? Like you were there, technically. You had the photos, you ate the food, you hit the landmarks that social media, AI, and your friends were telling you to hit. But something was missing. What if I told you that missing thing has nothing to do with where you went and everything to do with how you showed up? It comes down to five mistakes, and most people make at least three of them without even realizing it. So let's talk about it. Here's the thing, the tourist versus traveler conversation can feel a little gatekeepy or basic, right? And I want to be clear, that's not what this is. Being a tourist isn't a bad thing. We've all been tourists. Some of us still are tourists, and that's okay. But I think most of us at some point have felt that pull towards something deeper, toward experiences that just don't look good on your camera roll or get the most likes on social media, but actually change something in you deeper, more meaningfully. That's what immersive travel is. And it starts with recognizing a few patterns that quietly keep us on the surface of places. So, here are five questions with five honest answers to really get into the tourist versus traveler conversation and the biggest travel mistakes that you make as a tourist. The first one, do you plan every single hour of your trip? I used to be this person, and my friends and colleagues can vouch for it. I trip planned down to a T. Breakfast at 8 a.m., museum by 10 a.m., lunch reservation at 12:30, the second museum suggested to me by 2 or 3 p.m. And you know what happens when you plan every hour? Not just getting tired, but you stop seeing. You stop noticing the coffee shop that looks interesting, the alley that sounds like music is coming from it with an actual band, the local who smiled at you when you were going around the corner. Spontaneity isn't the enemy of a good trip. It's how you go deeper. Try this. Plan your anchors, where you're sleeping, maybe one or two things you really can't miss, and then leave the rest open to spontaneity. Give yourself permission to have a side quest. Number two, are you only going where the algorithm sent you? Raise your hand if you've ever added a place to your list because it came up 17 times on your For You page in Instagram or TikTok. I'm not judging, I've done it too. And here's the honest truth, social media isn't evil, but it has a business model. That business model is attention, and attention follows what's dramatic, beautiful, and shareable, which means the most algorithmically perfect spot is almost never the most real one. And I'm not saying avoid popular places or the travel influencer recommended spots 100%. I'm saying don't let the algorithm be your only guide. Talk to the person at the front desk of where you're staying. Ask the market vendor what part of the city they love and why. That intel is worth more than any influencer recommendation I've ever gotten. Number three, did you learn even one word of the local language? This one is close to my heart, and if anyone who has watched any of my other videos or listened to my podcast know it, because I believe connection is the whole point of travel, and connection is so much easier when you actually try, even badly. I'm not saying you need to be fluent. I'm saying learn how to say hello, thank you, excuse me, how do I say blank, and watch what happens. The locals light up, not because your pronunciation was perfect, but because you tried and you cared enough to make an effort. You acknowledge that their language exists and matters. That gesture, that's the power of saying yes to vulnerability on the road. It opens doors that no amount of planning ever could. Number four, are you eating where the menu has photos, or I'll add, is all in English? Look, I know the photo menu feels safe, or when you're encountering a menu fully in English, you know what you're getting. No surprises. But food is culture. It is one of the most direct sensory ways to understand where you are. And tourist area restaurants are almost universally optimized for tourists and usually scams, which means the food is designed to be familiar to the foreigner's palate, not authentic. My rule, if the restaurant is aggressively trying to get you through the door, keep on walking. Find the place with the handwritten menu you can barely read, where everyone inside is a local, and you point at what the table next to you ordered, or use a Google Translate back and forth to actually communicate what you're looking for. That's where the real meal is. And more often than not, that's where the real conversations start too. And the last one, number 5, are you moving through places without actually connecting with anyone in them? This is the big one because at the end of the day, immersive travel is about people. It's about understanding that the place you're visiting isn't a backdrop for your experiences and you are not at the center spotlight. It's someone's home, and the people who live there have stories, perspectives, and knowledge that no guidebook will ever capture. I want you to reflect on this. How many locals did you actually talk to on your last trip? Not service workers in the context of a transaction or the person in the lobby. I mean, really talk to them. If the answer is 0, that's okay. But it also identifies a place to grow. Just having that open mindedness leads you to new experiences, new people, new opportunities, and connections. If this is resonating with you, it would mean a lot if you took a moment to subscribe to our channel. We talk about this kind of travel, immersive, intentional, cultural, every single week here. And I genuinely would love to know in the comments which of these 5 mistakes hit closest to home for you. I'll be reading every single one. So, what actually separates a tourist from a traveler? I think it's consciousness and open mindedness. It's asking yourself, how do I want to show up here? What does this place deserve from me as a guest? And what can I give this place as a visitor? Because places aren't products, they're not content. They're not your backdrops. They're communities with histories, with tensions, with beauty that runs way deeper than what gets photographed or shared on social media. And I think the most radical thing you can do as a traveler is to arrive somewhere with humility, to acknowledge that you don't know this place yet, to be willing to be a little lost, a little uncomfortable, a little wrong about your assumptions. That discomfort, that's where the good stuff lives. That's what immersive travel actually feels like. And I promise you, once you travel that way, it's very hard to go back out. Trust me, I know. I hope this gave you a little bit to think about before you plan your next trip, or maybe even a reason to revisit a place you thought you already knew. If you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you found any of this useful, please share it with a fellow traveler who needs to hear it. Stay tuned.